Across Australia, New Zealand and the South Pacific, this is the week's Adventist News in Focus with David Gibbons.
In breaking news, Seventh-day Adventists are amongst the more than 100 people that have been killed after a tsunami triggered by a powerful undersea earthquake struck the Pacific islands of Samoa earlier this week. There are more than 7,000 Seventh-day Adventists living in the Samoa's Tokelau region. I've been able to get hold of Pastor Willie Salofa, head of the Seventh-day Adventist Church based in Apia, Western Samoa. Hello, Pastor Willie.
Hi, David.
So what's happening with the tsunami?
This is the longest earthquake as far as I am concerned, and I know from the past experience, because it went on for more than 3 minutes. The southern side of the country was hit with two waves of tsunami.
So how's it affecting people there in Samoa?
Most of the families, they have totally lost their homes. In some of the villages, only 2 or 3 houses are still standing, but most of the people, they have lost their homes, and now, as according to the report, there are more than 100 people who have lost their lives.
Now, I hear an Adventist family has been killed. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, that's right. We just received the story that this family is a mother of about 70 years old with children and grandchildren. The mother was drowned with the waves, but up until now, 2 little young grandchildren are still missing.
So how can we, living in Australia and New Zealand and other places, help you with this tragedy?
And probably they need food as well at the moment, and some medical assistance with those who are injured. Okay.
Please send greetings and words of encouragement to your church members. Thank you, Pastor Willie.
Thank you very much, David, for your concern.
The Adventist Development and Relief Agency, or ADRA, in New Zealand and Australia have teamed up to respond to the disaster. And donations to help with the response can be made through either ADRA New Zealand or ADRA Australia. And we'll bring you more updates as they happen online at www.record.net.au. Repeating that, we'll bring you more updates as they happen online at www.record.net.au. An Adventist health clinic in the remote eastern Solomon Islands has received new equipment, including an outboard motorboat to service the surrounding villages. A 5-person fly and repair team from Australia spent 12 days at Narragaho Clinic painting, cleaning, refurbishing and carrying out other maintenance work. Adventist churches from Western Australia donated the funds needed to purchase the medical equipment, including the new outboard motorboat.
Well, I'll use a new boat to transport patients from their villages to the clinic for treatment, and because of that it'll probably save many lives.
According to the Fiji Times, hundreds of people turned up at the Suva Adventist College to receive free medical treatment from a team of visiting Americans. The team of 57 from Temple City Adventist Church in California hoped to provide free medical checkups to 1,000 people over 3 days. The trip was made possible through donations and fundraising efforts in the US. Members of the Ferntree Gully Adventist Church in Victoria have invited their friends and neighbours to see a copy of the first book to be mechanically printed. The Gutenberg Bible was a part of an exhibition organised by the church for their local community. The exhibition featured rare scrolls and manuscripts of the Bible, some 450 years old, as well as floral displays depicting the 12 parables of Jesus. 268 delegates in Western Australia have met to decide the future directions of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in that region. Pastor Glenn Townend was re-elected as President and Warwick Long as Secretary-Treasurer. Pastor Lionel Smith was appointed to the new position of Assistant Secretary.
Constituency meeting wants us to keep focused on vision and mission and fulfilling the purpose of renewing the Adventist movement, creating significant lives and transforming communities.
Seventh-day Adventists meet every few years to elect leaders in their local regions. This was the 75th such meeting for the Western Australian region. There are 9 regions across Australia. The Hawera Adventist Church in North New Zealand has successfully used the CHIP program to impact the local community. The church has conducted a number of coronary health improvement programs for the local community over the last 18 months, with 285 people participating.
As the senior elder said to me, if the Hawera Church had closed 2 years ago, no one in town would have noticed. Now, the Adventist Church is a very significant part of the Hawera community.
And the new editor of Record joins me. Tell me, Pablo, what's in this week's edition of Record?
Thank you, David. Well, delegates at the first ever Festival of Mission have had their say in setting the strategic direction of the church in the South Pacific for the next 5 years. And in New Zealand, Sanitarium's new Kickstart breakfast program has been recognised by Prime Minister John Key as a best new initiative.
And tell me about your first editorial in Record.
Well, I think it's time to get personal, David. We need to focus on telling our own stories. They're the most powerful witness we have.
Muchas gracias, Pablo. And tell me, will you join us here each week and just give us some sort of an idea of what's in Record each week?
Absolutely.
Good, thank you. And in the full half hour of InFocus this week, we have a compelling story about food sense. It's highly probable that the cheaper foods at the supermarket may be better for you. And you can watch it all online too. Well, that's the news for this week. Thanks for your company. I'm David Gibbons.